Welcome, everyone, to this exciting interview segment. Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with Eddie Mills,
Hello.
hello, star of the Lifetime movie Killing the Competition. Join us as we delve into Eddie's insights into his character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you for being here with us, Eddie.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate your presence here today. So, can you tell us a little bit about your character in Killing the Competition?
Sure. I play Melissa Joan Hart's husband in Killing the Competition. We are a family that, we moved back to our small town where, our characters grew up as kids and went to high school together. And now we plan to raise our kids in the exact same hometown. The pressures of moving back to that hometown and fitting back into a social society uh, becomes very challenging for my wife. And she wants our kids to have exactly what she had growing up, the same things in school, the same opportunities, and she's willing to fight for it. Unfortunately, she gets a little carried away.
Ooh. And what initially attracted you to your role in this movie?
Initially, it was because of Melissa Joan Hart. She and I worked on Sabrina Goes to Rome back in 1998. We played love interest then at the time, and this movie came about. And like I said, it's been 28 years, I guess, since we worked together last. And her mother is also a really big component and in Melissa's, they have a great partnership together. Her mother is also the executive producer of a lot of her work in the shows. And that time in Rome, we became very close. And it just through the years, we have remained in contact and very close with one another. Paula calls me up one day and says, Melissa would love for you to come play her husband. She needs somebody she can trust, somebody she knows, and somebody she can lean on. And would you like to come and do this? And I was, yes, of course. Be able to work with them again, it was like working with family.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
what do you think makes this movie so special and captivating for the audience?
I think that when you sit down, when you put your energy into creating a project and you put all of these people together and a lot of strangers come together and you're trying to make this piece of art that you hope people are going to respond to. It just so happened that this team they put together was incredible. The rest of the cast, the crew, the production team, everyone was fantastic. They were so easy to get along with and collaborate with and work with, and also trust because I think when you are shooting a movie such as this, where there is some sensitive themes, obviously, in the subject, and with the subject matter, obviously, and it is ripped from the headlines, so there is some truth behind the story. But I think that should be some sensitivity there with the other actors and what you're dealing with when you're dealing with some mental health problems, right? And to have that support team that we had together made it incredibly special. It's why I wanted to do this movie again and why I wanted to work with Melissa again is we have an incredible bond. We have an incredible friendship that we forged for through so many years. And to be honest with you, the privilege of having to work with her again was amazing. I don't know how you feel about your friendships, but long-term friendships, when they go and they go and they go,
Yeah,
it's not as if a day has gone by in between the two of you. You can pick up where you left off, and we
yeah,
found ourselves just laughing all the time.
yeah, I agree. And you mentioned about your relationship, working relationship, and the friendship with Melissa.
Mhm.
But what can you share? What was it like working with the rest of the casting crew on set?
This is the first for me in a while to have like a daughter and a son, in that I felt as an actor like I need to take care of. Um, it naturally fell into place. The actors Lily Brooks Bryant, who plays her daughter,
Yeah,
she is a powerhouse of an actress. She is a force of talent like I've never seen before. And I think that through the years, as I got older, your career moves on, as you move on in your life and you change, the new youth that's coming up has a whole different way of talking. They have a whole different way of working. They have a whole different way of communicating. And working with Lily was just reminded me of when I was in college. It reminded me of my very first steps as an actor, the excitement behind it, the discovery, the aha moments that you kind of come into. And
yeah,
that was refreshing with this cast because Lily does come in with so much and she has a lot to carry in this movie. She really has a lot to do and a lot to carry. And I was just super impressed with her professionalism and her focus. And I learned a lot from that. I think over time, maybe we develop bad habits as actors, and then you get this fresh new energy that comes in that reminds you, yes, that's right. This is what we're doing it for, and this is why we're here.
that's great. And what can you tease about your character journey?
What can I tell you about my character's journey? Well, it's challenging when you are playing against someone who has a mental breakdown. You have to be very gentle with that because you can't judge that person for what they're going through. You just have to support them. And I found that it was really challenging. It gave me a lot of pause for thought. When you are dealing with a spouse who might get themselves into a bit of a legal jam, an illegal jam, where they get themselves in some kind of a trouble situation.
Yeah.
I think that to find the human quality, why did this happen? What led this person to get to this point? Not, I don't want to judge that person for what they did. You need to understand their journey and how they got to where they get to. And with that comes a lot of empathy for that person. And I think that you don't judge them more. You don't judge that character or you don't judge that person. You want to be there for them. You want to really fully grasp what they're going through and to help them, you can't really judge them for it, right? Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that that was probably the most difficult thing. I think about did you ever see the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape with Leonardo DiCaprio and with Johnny Depp? It was one of Leonardo DiCaprio's very first movies. And he plays a kid who has mental disabilities and he's very challenged. Do you remember this film
A little
vaguely?
bit.
But what was interesting was as people really hailed Leonardo DiCaprio as he was very young at the time, maybe
Yeah.
16, 17, 18 years old, and he won an Academy Award for that role in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. But what I found more fascinating about that movie wasn't the one suffering with the mental illness, was everyone around them who had to deal with it. And everyone who had to be it, like Johnny Depp's character, he really deserved the Oscar in that because I think that it takes a lot of patience and a lot of uh, grounding qualities to be able to deal with that sort of, mental instability. Now, I'm not saying that Melissa's character in this movie is that mentally unstable, but I'm just using that as an example.
A little teasing. Great. So, the last question about this movie.
Mhm.
What was your favorite scene or moment while filming it?
My favorite scene shooting this movie, I believe, will have to be the scene where everything is just starting to really unfold. I think, the when everyone in the community is starting to understand what's going on, and when I realized that this is happening under my roof. It's a very chaotic scene. It's a very chaotic moment. The kids are running around. The cops are showing up. There's a lot going on at that time period. And to watch Melissa navigate that as someone up, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. to watch her navigate that was fascinating because there was so much chaos going on around, and she just kind of floated right through the chaos. And I just love that scene. I really am looking forward to seeing that scene on the screen.
That's great. So,
Yeah.
change of subject.
Yes.
This is a question I ask to all the artists I have the pleasure to talk with. So, what have been some of the most memorable projects you have worked on throughout your career and why for you?
Mm. Sometimes the first is the most memorable. Never, it's like the having your first love, your first
Yeah,
relationship. You'll never forget it. And the first movie I did was with Hilary Swank and Jason Robards called Heartwood. And it was a small independent movie that we shot in Northern California, but that movie changed the trajectory of everything for me. It changed my career, it changed my life, it opened up a world in an area that I'd never been to before. The Northern California is absolutely stunning location to be on. And I think that one definitely sticks with my heart. I have been up and down Northern California now, probably, 500, 600 times since, I just fell in love with the people, fell in love with the area. And then Dancer, Texas, Pop 81, which was about four guys who were leaving a small town and going to move to California together from a small town in Texas. And I think that that was probably one of the most genuine, truthful stories that has ever been told that at least that the words coming out of my mouth felt very true at the time. The writer, Tim McCanley's, is an incredible writer. He also wrote a movie called The Iron Giant and another movie called Secondhand Lions. And both movies are both emotion filled. I mean, they make you really laugh out loud. They make you cry. They make you feel almost in the way my one of my favorite writers and directors of all time is Frank Capra. And I loved how he writes through the human condition, humor through the human condition. And I really believe that Tim McCanley's is a modern day sort of Frank Capra in that aspect. I've had the opportunity of getting to know him, and he's such a gentle, kind man, and I will never forget that experience. I think for that reason as well. When you're telling a really good story, it just sticks with you. It,
yeah,
you know, it really does stick with you. And that was a good story. But again, I mean, I did a movie for VH1, a rock and roll movie where I played the lead singer of a rock band. I mean, who doesn't want to be the lead singer of a rock band, you
yeah,
know?
exactly.
And right. And then I did a movie called Winter Break, which we wound up being in Aspen, Colorado for 2 months shooting, and they put us through ski camp, taught us all how to ski and snowboard. So each project, I think I take away something special. There's always a little bit of something that I will always take with me. I have memorabilia from every single project I've worked on. A little token, a little memento of something.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
can understand. So, the last question. Can you tease something about your next projects?
Next project's coming up. I briefly did a little spot on Criminal Minds on the new season that's coming on in the first season, or the first episode of the new season. And then otherwise, I don't know how it is where you are, but this industry is changing and we are trying to shift with it. California has really been hurt through the wildfires, obviously,
Yeah,
but even before that, just through the strikes and through the creative. Mm,
yeah,
I don't know what the right word is. It just feels like it's sort of this disillusionment. It's like what we have built for so many years and really loved in the community here in Los Angeles is not the same. It's not what it used to be. I mean, obviously, as you get older, things really aren't always what they used to be. We know this. But it is sad in a way when a lot of your friends and a lot of the people and colleagues that you love and that you know and that you worked with, you know, can't get a job. They can't get arrested and they're moving on and moving out and changing up. And it's hard to let go of your dreams. This is
yeah,
something that a lot of us have been doing for, 30 years and 40 years, and some people for much longer, at least for me, it's been a little over 30 years, I think. And it's really hard to let that go. It's hard to transition, and if and we're just gonna all have to hold on really tightly and see how things progress in the entertainment industry, especially here in Los Angeles. I just think that here specifically we're suffering a bit, you know. But as far as what's next, like let's look out for that and let's hope that there'll be many other things on the horizon. I really would love to do a lot more Lifetime movies and in that vein. They are a lot of fun and they're a lot of fun to work on. They're really fast paced. But you meet some great people when you work like that. When you're working hard, you work together.
Yeah,
You know that feeling.
yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
hope I can see you in a more Lifetime movie.
Yeah. That would be
Yeah,
great.
yeah. And so this is it. Make sure, I love you, to quote Killing the Competition on Lifetime channel this Saturday night. And
Thank you.
thank you. And thank you, Eddie, to join us today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's great talking to you.
For me too. And
Thank you.
thank you all for watching. Bye.